Okay, so I'm going to try it this way. So here's a surface that's sort of funny. All right, so how do you start panelizing something like this? You can use the extract isocurve command to, you click here to change from U to V. Like so. And I want like a main sort of isocurve that I can use to sort of divide the surface into segments. So I sort of took one in the middle here and one in the middle here, and then I'm going to divide this one. I'm going to try 16. I'm going to divide, or maybe 15. Sorry, if I hit divide like this, first it asks me to put the seam, so I can move that around. I just want it in the middle here for right now. And then it asked me to enter a number, so I'm going to try entering 15, like that. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same here. Divide, not drag the seam, press enter again, and then press enter again with the number. So there we have 15 divisions all around the curve. I'm going to copy this again. Now I'm going to just extract isocurve. I'm going to pick my V direction first, and I'm going to try to get a network of isocurves that are sort of nice. I'm going to turn off my center snap because that's difficult to use. So here I go, extracting a grid of isocurves all around the surface. I'm going to put those on my U layer, and now I'm going to try extract isocurve again, and I'm going to go to the U direction. I'm going to get an opposite network of isocurves, an opposite direction of isocurves all around the surface. Trying to get a grid network that I can use to panelize things. All right, that's sort of a grid. Copy this over. A loose starting point for a grid. There are some problems here, which is that, you can see things are not working. They're sort of missing in different places, and that might not seem like an issue to begin with, but if I try to find the surface here, that surface isn't planar, because if I do the planarity test here, let me hide this and show you, they won't intersect because that is slightly twisted, because it's not, a surface drawn that connects the isocurves correctly. So actually, the edge of the correct panel that would be flat is right there. You can see if I do the planarity test like this, let me hide this, and intersect these. They intersect, and those are also on the surface. I can check that they're on the panel by intersecting again. So what's gonna happen is if I try to use this grid, there's gonna be a panel that sort of extends past the surface, and then there'll be a weird intersection there with the panel coming from the other side. So that might not be the worst thing in the world, but it can cause some difficulty. So I'm going to try to fix it in advance. There's a couple of ways I can fix it. I can fix it by, kind of moving some of these isocurves, even though they're not a perfect grid anymore. Maybe I can tolerate that in certain places. And when I do this, I tend to move the ones that I think mess up the grid the least. For example, that doesn't look so bad to me, but if I go back and try the other ones, like if I try to move this one, I feel like this has gotten very large and no longer sort of looks correct. So I'm going to try to move the ones that I feel are most least harmful to the sort of distribution of the way the surface looks, the distribution of the size of the panels. So here we go. Let me go around the other side too, and you can see I have the same mismatch there. So I'm going to move that one too. All right, so that's a start. Okay, so now I'm going to copy this again over here. And sort of the next thing that arises is that's a difficulty is if I want the panels to meet up, I need the isocurves from this network to begin here. But if I try to take these curves, I get, you know, very sort of distorted networks. So there's a kind of an issue that happens when you have two surfaces intersecting, which is that one network of isocurves doesn't necessarily produce a nice network of isocurves on the other surface. You can see the sizes are getting extremely screwed up if I try to have the panels from one surface meet the panels for the other surface. So there's a couple of different ways to deal with that. You could accept it. You could allow, like, you know, one moment of sort of bizarre intersection, or you could attempt to adjust it after the fact. So what I'm going to do is sort of just proceed as though I didn't know that was going to happen. I'm just going to instead extract a similar network of isocurves on the other surface. So let me just copy this over, let's start extracting this opposite network of isocurves. I'm just going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to get these main curves, the main sort of center curves. I'm going to put these on their own. I'm going to duplicate these layers so I can keep them separate. And call this isocurve U1, isocurve V1. And let's put these here. And give them a different color. All right, so I'm going to just divide these now. Divide 15. I'm going to divide this again by 15. And now I'm going to try to just extract a similar network of isocurves on the other surface as the one that I had on the first surface. So let's just try that and see what happens. Here we go, around, 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 around. Put those on that layer, and let's go the other direction. Boink, 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 boink. Okay, now we've got, I'm going to delete this one in the middle, delete this one in the middle, delete this one, delete that one. Now I'm going to lock this, lock swap, cell point, delete my points, unlock, and copy this. All right, so now I've got a network of isocurves on both surfaces. Okay, so if I want to panelize this, what I'm going to do, actually, you can see, you know, what's going to happen is there's a sort of an issue that's going to happen here. If I try to put a panel here and I put a panel here, they're going to intersect at a funny angle. So actually, I'm going to start trying to, well, let me just show you what that would look like. So the first thing is I can't put a panel here, remember, because this would be a twisty panel. So actually, I'm going to have to extend this curve until it meets this one to find that panel. So in order to do that, I'm just going to use this fillet command with a no radius and just fillet these together. Fillet that one. Sorry, fillet this one. Let's do the other thing here. There we go. So if I were to put two panels here, boink, 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 boink. Okay. They're just going to intersect sort of abruptly and not have a continuous network of lines from one surface to the other. So, you know, as a geometric imperative, we're going to try to avoid that. So here, let's hide the surface so you can see that. there. If I were to trim these with each other, that one becomes a funny shape, which might be fine. It depends on what you're going for. But in our case, let's try to avoid that. So what I'm going to do is probably adjust the spacing of this second surface just a little bit where I can to make it respond to the first. So I'm going to copy this again, and it won't be exactly the same way I made the network. So let's start extracting some isocurves that try to respond to the spacing from the first surface. And I don't think this looks bad. So actually, I'm going to go with, let's move this one. And then here, it'll pick up its own sort of independent spacing going down. So one other thing that I think is sort of gross is I have this will be a very, very, very giant panel. And as you can see, I've also got this sort of mismatching spacing right here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually like change all these isocurves in here. So I'm going to put one like that, and I'm going to put one like that, and then I'm going to take this one and let's say divide that into 4, and then I'm going to try this. Delete those, but you know that actually is sort of funny because I don't like the idea of just having one division on this side. I don't think that'll make it curve. So instead of doing that, I'm going to try 5. All right, let's see. Those look too tight to me. What do I do here? I did 3, but I did it lower. Okay, so let's try 3, and we'll do it here. All right, there we go. That looks better to me. It's sort of big and nice, but there we go. Okay, now you can see I've got this one funny one here, and then well, actually, it looks like it's sort of working. All right, cool. So let's put these on the right layer, and I don't see any sort of real mishaps yet in this direction. Let's look on the other side about what's going to happen. Let's look down here. Up. I gotta fix it down here. So let's move these so that they continue from the other side. Let's delete those, boink, boink, boink. And now let's move that one. I've sort of got a network going on here, except for this. There's my one problem. I'm gonna have some weird thing happening here. What did I do over here? Looks like I got rid of that somehow. It must have been, let's try to get rid of it. So what I could do is I could compromise. So I could put an isocurve sort of in between, and then I could put one of these there. Put one of those there. I could move this one there. Oh, that's screwing that up. So let's just leave that there, and maybe we can put this one here. That gets very big. That spacing. But actually, I see, if these are not aligned, so here we go. Let's just go around here, aligning them this way. There we go, around aligning, 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 and then we can align this one like that. And then it looks like we've just got an issue in this final moment where we either have a very big panel or a very small panel at this transition. So I'm just going to delete that. And then this one is extra large, which I don't super love. So what I'm going to try to do, maybe, what happens if I just attempt to sort of adjust it? I maybe could make some attempt to sort of compromise here a little bit. Okay, I made some attempt to compromise, and I think probably, at least at this moment, as good as it's going to get. So let's put these on the right layers and go to the next step. All right, so if I've got this, let me lock this, lock swap, cell PT, delete the points, unlock. Let me copy this over. All right, so now I got to put the panels on, which is yet another issue, which is, so, you know, the struggle here is that I can't put a panel here. So as I said before, I'm going to have to go around and I'm going to have to actually have more of the isocurves here than I actually had of the surface in order to draw these panels. So I'm going to fillet them so that they complete the panel that I need beyond the surface so that I can model it. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so I completed those. Now I got to do these. I could also extend curve by arc. Just extend this. I'm just using the fillet so that I extend both at the same time. The reason that it doesn't work to meet it is that this intersection curve is not an isocurve. All right, so I have those. These ones that are sort of triangular, a triangle is always a plane, so that'll just work. Okay, so let's do the other set. Here we go. Oh wow, look at that giant panel. That's a little extreme. I feel like that's not good. So I'm going to make an adjustment there. This huge panel on the other side, I didn't realize that was going to happen. So let's take one of these isocurves and let's extract a new one. Right sort of here. Let's then split it with these two. And let's divide that into 4 instead. And then let's try to add, oh man. So actually, instead of dividing, that was not the right way to go about it. So I thought I could divide this and split it, but instead of doing that, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I automatically come off of some of these panels that I already have here. So let me delete these two, and then I've got those two which look nice and sort of semi in the spacing. Actually, they're pretty close together here. So let me come off these instead. There we go. Okay, those look okay. And then let me just take this and divide this into, divide this edge into 3 and put 3 there. And they're going to get very close together here, and I've accepted that. Okay, so now that looks better to me. That looks better to me. Okay, all right, okay. Here, this is working. Let's keep going, completing the panels. I gotta find this panel. I've 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 gotta find this panel. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right. So now I've got to do this side. There we go. Delete this point, delete these points, and this thing should be panelizable. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to hide my surfaces. Oof, that's overwhelming. So maybe not going to do that. I'm going to just start creating a panels. 1, 2, 3, 4. Waiting for my intersection snap to happen. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just turn off the others while I do these. Oops. You have to be careful with the clicking. I have a lot of experience doing this, but if you click in the wrong spot, they won't be planar. I'm going to show you a trick that can sometimes make it faster. So if I have these three curves, if I take them and I split them by these curves, and then I rebuild them with 1, 2, they're all straight segments now, then I can join them, and I can loft them, and I can use the straight sections, and then I can explode. So then there are the panels again. So let me just select all those, cell last, cut them, undo, so I keep my isocurves and paste them back. So let's delete these and do these that way. Can't use that one, and I can't use, because I need them all to be the same length or the loft won't work correctly. So let's take these and split them like so, rebuild. Look at all that mess. So I gotta lose the ones that are not part of, there we go. Those look like, gotta get rid of that one. Let's join those. Oops, it's an extra one over here, join those, loft them together. When I loft, I have to have straight sections. Then I can explode this. Oops, look at that, I screwed up. So there's an extra segment there, join, loft. Oh crap, I forgot a curve here. So let's go back. Here, let's split them correctly this time. Rebuild 1, 2. Get rid of the extra. Join them, loft them, explode this, cut it, undo, paste. All right, and then I'll do the rest of these manually. Oh, look, screw up. There's a missed isocurve here. How did that happen? These have to be created again. Let's extract that isocurve correctly. There we go. Now let's make those again. Here, I forgot to extend these. Use the splitting. Forgot to extend these. That looks like I forgot to extend that, so those are not going to be flat. So they'll have to be remade. Here, I'll show you. These I made with that splitting technique, and you can see they're not planar because I forgot to extend them. So you got to be careful. There we go. All right, I did one of them. There we go. Look at that. So let's hide these isocurves. Hide these isocurves. Let's lock this. Lock swap. Cell color. Join them. And put them on their own layer. All right. Now we have to do the other one. So for this one, though, I'm going to use the script. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to Tools, RhinoScript, Run, double click this reorder, and I'm going to select this group of isocurves. And now they're grouped in an order, and I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do this group of isocurves. Alright, so those are now grouped in an order. And I'm going to load Grasshopper. I'm going to open Grasshopper. I'm going to go to my discretization 1. I'm going to click my discretization from curves here. Your version will be more organized than this. I'm going to click this one, sorry, it's actually discretization panel from UV curves, the organized one already. I'm going to put my UV curves in here, and I'm going to put my other curves in there, and that is just going to right click here, set multiple curves, select the first group, right click here, set multiple curves, select the second group, and then I'm going to right click here and go to bake, and then I'm going to go cell last, join, and let me hide the surface so you can see that just did all of it, so except for this row, so I'll complete that row manually. All right, let's do the other set this way. So I'm going to ungroup these and ungroup, and I'm going to do my Tools, RhinoScript, Run, double click this reorder, go around, select all these curves. I screwed it up. These have to be ungrouped first. Tools, RhinoScript, Run, reorder. This looks like I forgot to extend it. So let's extend it. By the way, when I do this extending now, it's going to screw up the reordering that I did, because it's like recreating all these curves, and that will screw up the in Rhino's memory, it's going to screw up the reordering. All right, so now I'll have to redo the reordering. We ungroup them. Let's order these first. Tools, Rhinoscript, run. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Have to wait. There we go. Reorder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right. Let's go to Grasshopper. Grasshopper's down here, so make this big. And I gotta go set multiple curves. Select the other group. Set multiple curves. Right click over here, bake. Cell last, join. All right, so it didn't do the whole thing because I forgot to extend this curve, you can see. So let's extend that curve, and let's extend this curve, and then let's just build these last ones manually. Again. That looks like I screwed up. Yep. See, not planar. These are not planar. I picked weird, bad intersections. These were, you can see the planarity test doesn't work. So let me delete those and do them correctly, carefully. All right, there we go. I'm missing a triangle here. There we go. Now I panelized both surfaces. So what's next? Well, really just to trim them with each other, except and look for mistakes. So obviously there's a mistake here. I want to show you something that also has happened. All right, so let's copy this. Let's unlock this and copy this over. Lock, swap, cell curve, delete, unlock. Okay, so there it is. Now, for the most part, this is going to work, but you can see there are some places where, okay, like some funny things will happen. So if I trim this, I got this weird point intersecting in the middle. By the way, it looks like I made an error there somewhere along the line. That's why this doesn't align. Oh no, it's because it's passing. Okay, so this is a funny moment. There's a funny moment. There's a funny moment. There's a funny moment. That's good. These are all sort of not exactly meeting because they're passing through each other. So the isocurves didn't meet at that point. So it is possible to fix that manually, and you can do things. The way to do it is sort of locally. So what I could do is let me explode this and let me trim, intersect, let me explode this other one too. Let's intersect these two panels. And then I'm going to draw a line from here to there. And I'm going to split this panel like that. And then this panel now doesn't meet it there. So I'm going to remake that panel. by extruding this curve along that curve. Now that one doesn't meet. But so what I can do is I can extend this one, extend surface, they can intersect them, and then I can draw this line to there. I'm doing the same thing I did previously. Okay, and then that one can be trimmed like that. Now this one and this one don't meet, so then I have to, this one's good now, but now I have to go here and extrude curve along curve like that, and I can intersect these. Let's make sure it's long enough. I can intersect these, and then I can draw the line from that point to there, and I can extend this line, and I can trim it like that. And now this one can be trimmed with that one, and this one's good. So I can go down the line. Now these don't meet, so I can remake this one. At a certain point, I think what's going to happen, yeah, okay, so this one has to be trimmed. Basically, I'm remaking all the edges, the entire edge row. What I do is I put a point here, I put a point there at the intersection point that I want, and I extend it. Because this is an intersection of this plane and this plane, a line from a point in this plane to a point on the intersection of this plane and this plane will be in that plane. So this line, because it intersected this plane and this plane, has to lie in both this plane and this plane. So any line from any point here to any point on this curve is automatically, if drawn correctly, that line will automatically be in this plane if I intersect them. So I can use that to trim this surface like so, like so, like so. And then what you will see is the way this sort of ridiculous process ends is there's a triangular panel here, and that goes right here. If I extend this surface, if I do it with this one, I didn't draw that line correctly. To be careful that I'm clicking on the right point. There we go. There we go. This, like that, this triangle, because a triangle can be drawn anywhere, this triangle is sort of the one that takes up the error. In that manner, like that. All right, so what would happen is if I would keep going around until I encountered the triangle over here, and then that would end up solving the error. So let's see if I can do that in a different spot. So I'm gonna do it right here. Delete this one, extend this one, intersect, because that spot's fine. Draw a line from this point to that point. Like that, and then I'm going to surface extrude curve along curve, remake that panel, split this panel with that panel, and then I'm going to intersect these, and then I'm going to draw a line from here to there, and I'm going to delete, split that panel with this panel. And now this one, I'm just going to delete. And this one, I can find that intersection, and I can just put a triangle there, and that triangle is automatically planar. It's not working because I have a little bit of an overhang here. Yeah, that's annoying. All right. How would I fix that? Well, I mean, you know how I'd fix it, but it's obviously frustrating. Okay, let's just do it. I'm gonna there we go. Now these, by the way, because they're symmetrical, I should just be able to if I do it correctly, mirror those. These need to be joined, but because they were mirrored, they should just meet up. That's a connect surface command. I could also extend them. Connect surface often doesn't work, and trim them with each other. Okay, and now wonderfully, I should also be able to select these and mirror them 3 point, 1, 2, this is automatically a planar hole because it was created from other planes, so I have a duplicate because I mirrored some that I shouldn't have. There's some extra ones here that I forgot to delete. You have to be very careful with the mirroring. It gets kind of... Okay, there we go. Okay, let's just keep going around this side. So this one is fine. That one needs to be deleted. That one is the triangular one that is just going to make up the slack. So this one here, I can do this intersection. Can extend, well, let me go back to where I was doing it before. So I should keep going in a line so I don't get lost. Okay, so here, that one, these two need to intersect. This one needs to be trimmed. Okay. as the triangle. They can go anywhere if I draw it right. These can't be joined. I screwed something up. So I'm just going to forcibly join them. What happened here, okay, the reason they're not joining is because actually, like, this process is a little bit like the tail chasing it, dog chasing its tail. I have to find sometimes a clever way of closing the loop, and I didn't plan it out effectively, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to assume that there'll be like a little error here. Like an odd error there. I'm going to say that's within the tolerance of the paper model. It would be fixable if I had planned more effectively where I was going to put the triangles, but at the moment I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so here we go, like that, and then the next step would be, again, doing it on the other side, but in this case, I'm going to be willing to allow myself to mirror, even though that's more likely to break. If I would tell you how I would fix it, you can see there's actually a triangle on this side and a triangle on that side, so it would be possible to preference it using the two triangles effectively. All right, so here what we can do is just explode this. Copy this side. Mirror it. Self dupe. Actually, I've got a lot of duplicate panels here. I'm going to explode this. See, these are duplicates. I didn't do the mirroring correctly. So let's actually just mirror the ones that we are going to use. Because I did this mirroring, I've got to go and find all the duplicate panels that I made. So it's not the best way, honestly, to approach it. if I didn't mirror perfectly, they won't line up. So I don't recommend that. I'm looking for the duplicates that I accidentally created. You can use the cell dupe command, but it often doesn't work. It won't find all of them. That's why the mirroring is dangerous. There it is. All right, so if I go to Analyze, Edge Tools, Show Edges, and I click only naked edges, you can see I actually did it. If I had done the mirroring incorrectly, I would end up with naked edges because things wouldn't join correctly. But you can see, like, I'm actually still getting duplicates, so it was sort of not the best move on my part. So again, the mirroring was really not so great. But there we go. Deleted too many. Because these edges were already planar, I can fill them in.